Okay, greetings, my brothers and sisters. Joey B here once again with another Bible prophecy update for you guys. And I just wanted to link you guys up with this video to start things off here that I had done recently, talking about how the Muslim Brotherhood was executing Christians and journalists over in Egypt. And I reported this, I believe it was back on Friday, or last Friday. Well, it was on the 18th. And, we had talked about basically... Daniel 11, 41 and 45, most specifically the Isaiah 19 prophecy, verses 1 to 4, talking about the cruel ruler being handed over to Egypt, as we've been talking about for quite some time here on the channel. And we also referenced to the Psalm 83 war, and we're going to talk a little bit about those again here in this video, as we had some more developments come across the wire that I just wanted to report to you guys as we watch many prophecies of these last days that we now live coming to pass right before our very eyes, as I often say here. And so in this video, I link you guys up to all kinds of stuff like the original reports on the crucifixions going on over in Egypt, where they were putting journalists and Christians alike up on basically trees naked and crucifying them in the streets in front of the presidential palaces over there, or whatever they're called. However, I want to move on to a report from today, and again, like I said, I'll link you guys up to this video so you can check that out and all the links below. But we had seen Mohammed Mursi come into power, and the military didn't want to hand over power to him, right? So now he used, to make a long story short, he used his executive powers and basically brought forth this constitutional decree in which he could, seize power as the president over there. And then we saw that he retired all the top generals and so forth, and basically cleaned house and get all his cronies in there, if you will. And we had a couple reports come across the wire from WND that I had shared here on the exaltedtruth.com. And as we see, and before I get into the article in its totality, I want to make reference to the scriptures that we're alluding to here before I even jump into it. And so I'll read to you now Isaiah 19 verses 1 to 4. And I've got a NASB version of the Bible here in front of me. That's the closest one available, as it says, "Behold, the Lord is riding on a swift cloud and is about to come to Egypt. The idols of Egypt will tremble at his presence, and the heart of the Egyptians will melt within them. So I will incite Egyptians against Egyptians, and they will each fight against his brother, and each against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Then the spirit of the Egyptians will be demoralized within them, and I will confound their strategy, so that they will resort to idols and ghosts of the dead, and to mediums and spiritists. Moreover," and this is the important part, "I will deliver the Egyptians into the hand of a cruel master, and a mighty king will rule over them, declares the Lord of hosts." And this is the fulfillment of that prophecy, as we are seeing before our very eyes, of this mighty ruler and fierce king coming to power over there in this Isaiah 19 prophecy. I mean, as I had talked about in many of my World War III scenario reports, Morsi's got tanks and anti-aircraft artillery and so forth, and troops over in Sinai along the border of Israel, and and said he was going to do away with the Israeli peace accord that was signed in 1979, and we had touched on that in my previous World War III scenario reports. And, he's also going to be meeting in Iran soon with Ahmadinejad, who has come out and said publicly on several occasions that he was going to blow Israel off the map. And, that leads me into the Psalm 83 relation to a lot of this. And I'm going to read to you Psalm 83, just verses 1 to 5 here. And it says, "O God, do not remain quiet. Do not be silent, and, O God, do not be still. For behold, your enemies make an uproar, and those who hate you have exalted themselves. They make shrewd plans against your people, and conspire together against your treasured ones. They have said, "Come, let us wipe them out as a nation, that the name of Israel be remembered no more. For they have conspired together with one mind, and against you they make a covenant." And I'm going to stop there. And this is a lot of what we're seeing now. Again, I reiterate that, Ahmadinejad saying he's going to blow Israel off the map. And again, we're just seeing prophecy after prophecy being fulfilled before our very eyes here. That was already told to us long ago in the scripture. And, in previous videos I had talked about the Isaiah 17 prophecy on the destruction of Damascus that's, that we appear to be right on the doorstep of, and I mean, we'll see, remains to be seen what will take place, but, you can put the pieces of the puzzle together here. Anyhow, we'll get into the article very quickly. As it states here in the title, an Egyptian cleric gives the okay to kill protesters and Christians or anyone who opposes the Muslim Brotherhood's ruling and the fierce King Mohammed Morsi over there in Egypt. And there's even a link to a video report that confirms these Egyptian crucifixions. And so it says here, massive demonstrations are planned as the Islamic radicals solidify rule. And it says here, top Sunni Muslim scholar in Egypt has issued a decree legitimizing the killing of demonstrators who plan to protest the new Muslim Brotherhood government in nationwide rallies Friday. And, they use the word demonstrators, and that is because it's not just Christians they're crucifying. It's anyone who's opposed to this Morsi character and the Muslim Brotherhood that are in power. And but we all know that the Christians is the main group and the main focus in all of this, because it goes up further than just the Muslim Brotherhood and the Roman Empire and all these things that I talk about. At the top of the pyramid, my friends, it's Satan, as I always say. Okay, all these people are deceived by Satan. And that's part of the great deception going on and the great controversy between Satan and God here in these last days that we're watching come to fulfillment before our very eyes. And it goes on to say here that so tomorrow we're going to see all these Muslim Brotherhood government protests, nationwide rallies, and this is tomorrow, Friday. And the Egyptian cleric has came out and said it's okay to kill these demonstrators. So it's just setting up for this thing to spiral out of control in the most evil and satanic way possible. And we need to send our prayers out to these people, and hopefully it doesn't get as bad as it seems like it's going to get. But it goes on to say here, Egyptians who protest the regime of President Mohammed Morsi are infidels who should be resisted, declared Sheikh Hashim Islam of the Al-Azhar Fatwa Committee, according to allafrica.com. And there's links to all the reports throughout the article here. And it says, an Egyptian human rights activist for Christians and Jews who declined to be named for security reasons told WND the nation is bracing itself for further violence. I am told things are going to explode this coming Friday with a massive anti-government, anti-brotherhood, pro-democracy rally, the Cairo resident said. And we know that, as this happens, it's now okay to, over there anyways, to kill and crucify, any journalists or activists or demonstrators or most notably and the main focus, the Christians. Which, it's like I said, anything that teaches to kill the infidels is, not godly in any way, shape, or form. But, I'm not here to judge or anything like that. And just put forth the truth. And as it says here, the source noted the decree or fatwa came at the close of Ramadan from the highest Sunni Islamic authority, Al-Azhar University in Cairo. The fatwa said the protesters are un-Islamic traitors of Allah, the source pointed out, implying democracy itself is un-Islamic. The Muslim Brotherhood, according to the source, says it's a religious duty and obligation of every faithful Muslim to oppose the secularists who are influenced by the West and the Zionist enemies of Islam. It is very important to note that this is all part of preparing the stage and ensuring that there is no opposition to the Muslim Brotherhood writing the new constitution, which will ensure Sharia law is enacted and that Egypt will become an Islamic state before the end of this year, the source said. Once the constitution is established, the source said, it will be the final nail in the coffin for secular pro-democracy movement, or for the secular pro-democracy movement. There will be no turning back, and it will guarantee the Brotherhood years of unthreatened rule and control of Egypt, he said. It's all funded and supported by Saudi Arabia and the Salafists. Salafists are the Wahhabi Muslims, exactly like in Saudi Arabia. And it goes on to say here, since Morsi became the country's first freely elected president June 30th, there has been very strong anti-Brotherhood wave in the country. The Egyptian activist said, many Muslims and Christians feel betrayed, used, abused, and deceived, he said. And the media was at the forefront of exposing the hypocrisy, and it was causing the Brotherhood great concern. The Brotherhood have their own agenda of creating an Islamic Egypt and certainly not a democratic Egypt, he said. The Egyptian citizen has some sharp questions for the government about its recent violent resistance of protesters who told the authorities not to intervene. Why have there been no arrests or charges? Why is the Egyptian media prevented from reporting the incident or showing any photos? Where did all this censorship come from? Only a fool would believe Morsi was not aware of what was going to happen. Again, it's yes, this man is evil, but it's because he is deceived by Satan. Just as the Roman Catholic Church is deceived by Satan, the Roman Empire is deceived by Satan, and all roads do lead to Rome. It's not just Rome. Like when I say all roads lead to Rome, I'm not saying, it's just Rome, there's no Satan, don't worry about it. No, at the top of the pyramid, it's Satan deceiving all these people. Okay, and again, that's just symbolic of that is great deception going on in these times. But it goes on to mention here, Lopez I went too far here. And it goes on to say here, fatwa against Christians. The reports of the fatwa against demonstrators comes as a series of articles report the issuance of another fatwa against Christians. Egypt's El Figure said jihadi groups in Egypt are openly being encouraged to kill Christians. And there's a link to that there. The story also said calls for violence come after a fatwa was issued by an Egyptian cleric urging people to act after Friday prayers. A photo of the letter also appeared on El Figuere's website, and you can link up with that there. So it goes on to talk more about it, as it states here, a number of us long have been expecting that as soon as the Muslim Brotherhood consolidated its hold on power in Egypt, the killing of Copts, Coptic Christians even, by Muslims would accelerate, and tragically, that is exactly what we're beginning to see happen. Lopez added the historical context for the present situation. Let's remember that the very word Copt means Egyptian. And before the Islamic invasion of the 7th century, they were the majority in Egypt. There used to be many Jews there too. She said the reason both communities have been systematically decimated over the centuries is precisely because of continuous Muslim assaults, attacks, exile, genocide, pogroms, slaughter, and forced conversions to Islam. So there is much historical precedence for these reports that tends to make them at least very plausible. And the Word of God told us about this. Lopez said the Obama administration has been silent on the issue of Christian persecution, of course, because they're going to bring the exact same thing to North America, to the U.S., to Canada, to all these areas. It's going to be global eventually, at least it would seem so. Anyhow, I'm going to link you guys up to it. There's a link here to see the video and so forth. So God bless, guys.